Have you ever stopped to think about the invisible world that's buzzing all around us right now? Wi-Fi, your phone, radio, TV signals, they're all flying through the air. But how do you actually see any of that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into. Let's kick off our guide to the fundamentals of RF spectrum analysis.
And just a quick heads up, this is the very first part of a bigger 10-part tutorial, so we're really starting from square one. The goal is that by the time we're done with this series, you'll be totally comfortable with this amazing piece of equipment.
So here's what we've got on tap for today. First, we'll cover what spectrum analysis even is. Then we'll dig into a really crucial idea, the difference between the time and frequency domains. After that, we'll look at why this stuff is so important in the real world, check out the different kinds of analyzers, and finally, we'll make sense of that screen that looks so complicated at first glance.
All right, let's jump right in. Section 1. Welcome to spectrum analysis. At its heart, the job of a spectrum analyzer is actually pretty simple. It's all about making that invisible world of signals totally visible, something we can actually measure and understand.
Basically, this amazing tool takes all those complicated signals and turns them into simple graphs. And once you can see them, you can spot all kinds of problems. Things like unwanted signal echoes, which are called harmonics, or interference from other gadgets. It's an absolutely essential tool for any engineer working with wireless tech.
Okay, this next part is a really core concept. To get what a spectrum analyzer does, you have to learn to think in what's called the frequency domain. It's a totally different way of looking at a signal compared to the time domain, which is what we're probably all more used to.
And this slide right here shows it perfectly. We're looking at the exact same signal, but through two different instruments. On the left, that's an oscilloscope, and it shows the signal's strength going up and down over time. But on the right, the spectrum analyzer shows that same signal's power all packed into one specific frequency. It's two different but equally vital ways of seeing the same thing.
So here's the real takeaway. An oscilloscope answers the question, how strong is my signal right now? But a spectrum analyzer answers a different question. What are all the different frequencies that make up this signal, and how strong is each one? It basically takes the signal apart for you.
So in a nutshell, that's what spectrum analysis is all about. It's the process of drawing a graph of signal power versus frequency. And doing that is the key to unlocking all of a signal's hidden details, making them pop right out on the screen.
And believe me, this isn't just for theory. Engineers use this for three really critical things. 1, for troubleshooting, hunting down problems like interference. 2, for design verification, making sure the thing they built actually works the way it's supposed to. And 3, for regulatory compliance, proving to the government that their gear is playing by the rules and not causing problems for anyone else.
Okay, so where do people actually use this stuff? Let's take a look at a few real-world applications that you probably interact with every single day.
In the world of amateur, or ham, radio, a huge part of the hobby is being a good neighbor on the airwaves. A spectrum analyzer lets operators check that their radios are clean, that they're not accidentally blasting out signals on frequencies they shouldn't be, which could interfere with critical services.
Now, think about businesses, like the walkie-talkies that security guards or event staff use. Those airwaves are incredibly packed. Analyzers are absolutely essential for making sure every radio stays perfectly in its lane, preventing chaos and making sure their communications are reliable.
And what about your favorite radio station or your local TV news? Well, broadcasters use spectrum analyzers to constantly measure their signal's power and quality. They need to make sure you're getting a strong, clear picture and perfect sound, no matter where you are in their coverage area.
And then there's cable TV. That's a huge, incredibly complex network of wires. Technicians use these tools to check signal levels everywhere, and more importantly, to hunt down something called ingress noise. That's when unwanted signals leak into the cable from the outside, and it's the kind of thing that can completely ruin your TV picture or slow your internet to a crawl.
All right, so as you might have guessed, not all spectrum analyzers are created equal. Let's talk about the main types you'll run into and the key specs that tell you what each one is good at. So you've got your classic swept-tuned analyzers. These are the traditional workhorses, great for all kinds of general-purpose stuff. Then you have real-time analyzers. These are essential for catching really fast, fleeting signals, like modern Wi-Fi or a quick burst of interference that would otherwise be missed. And of course, there are hybrid models that try to give you the best of both.
Now, when you look at a spec sheet for one of these, you'll see a bunch of terms. Let's just quickly run through the most important ones. Frequency range is easy. It's just how low and how high in frequency the analyzer can see. Resolution bandwidth, or RBW, that's like the sharpness of its vision, its ability to tell two signals that are really close together apart. Dynamic range and sensitivity tell you how good it is at finding a tiny, faint signal right next to a really loud one. And finally, amplitude and frequency accuracy, well, they just tell you how much you can trust the numbers it's putting on the screen.
Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the different kinds of analyzers. Now let's tackle the display itself. I know it can look a little intimidating at first, but I promise it's really just a simple graph.
And here it is. At its very core, all that screen is showing you is a plot of signal power on the vertical axis versus frequency on the horizontal axis. That's it. A signal that's higher up is stronger, and signals move to higher frequencies as you go from left to right. Simple as that.
So let's just point out the main parts. You have your horizontal axis, that's frequency. Your vertical axis, that's amplitude or power. You have a reference level, which basically sets the measurement ceiling at the very top of the screen. And you have markers, which are little tools you can move around to pinpoint the exact frequency and power of a signal.
On that horizontal frequency axis, the two controls you'll use constantly are center frequency and span. The best way to think about it is like a camera lens. Center frequency is where you point the camera, and span is your zoom control. It decides if you're looking at a huge wide view of the spectrum or zooming way in on one tiny little piece of it. Now, the vertical axis shows power, and it's usually in a unit called dBm. It's a logarithmic scale. The whole reason we do that is so we can see incredibly strong signals and incredibly weak signals all on the same screen at the same time. If we didn't, the weak ones would just be invisible. And typically, each one of those grid lines you see represents a 10 decibel change in power.
So there you have it. We've covered the fundamental theory, what a spectrum analyzer is, why it's so critical, and how to make sense of its display. We've laid the groundwork. So the real question is, are you ready to actually put this knowledge to work?
Awesome. Then make sure you join us for part 2 of this series. We're going to stop just talking about the analyzer and actually fire one up. We'll walk through the basic buttons and knobs and get it all set up to take our very first measurement together. You really won't want to miss it.